Welcome to the Roundup Arkansas Radio, the official podcast of Roundup Arkansas Magazine. Each episode takes you behind the scenes of the magazine's most compelling feature stories, from the heart of the horse and cattle industry to the front lines of modern homesteading. We spotlight the hardworking folks shaping Arkansas agriculture, explore the roots of Western passion, and celebrate the rural lifestyle and all its grit and glory. Whether you're a rancher, a rodeo fan, or just a lover of the land, there's a seat at the table for you. So saddle up, relax, and enjoy the show. So today we have with us Dr. Mike Pallone. He is the owner of Pallone Veterinary Hospital in Rosebud, Arkansas, and also the owner of Rosa Sharon Ranch, and now the new owner of the Roundup, formerly known as the Horseman's Roundup. How did you get your start with this magazine? How did you become the new owner of the Roundup?
Phyllis Ormsby. Phyllis and her husband George have been clients of mine, vet clients, and they live just a few miles from here, and I've known them forever. The Roundup Magazine has been part of the Central Arkansas equine world for 30 years, and I remember when I just started building the clinic, they featured me in an episode or an issue, I guess, of the Roundup, and ever since then I became an advertiser in the magazine. When Phyllis and George took it over, we became advertisers every month for a couple of companies we have. And, it's one of those things you wait for every month to show up at the feed store or the restaurant and thumb through it and kind of see what's happening in the equine world around there.
So is this part of the plan, or is this just a surprise twist in the life of Mike, or is it?
There's a lot of twists, but no, this just came when Phyllis asked me maybe 6 months ago if I'd be interested in taking over. I never had much thought of it before that. Again, it's always interested me to read what she put together. And again, most of the news and stories in there were of either customers or clients or people that we know in this small world in equine Arkansas. And so when she, asked me about it, it did pique some interest. I knew that I didn't have the know-how to do it by myself. So I enlisted the help of several individuals to help me with it. And we put together a great team, and excited about it.
So for the people that don't know the Horseman's Roundup prior, what do you think it has meant to those readers in the past? And looking forward to that magazine, what type of readers or have in the past looked for that magazine, and what has it meant to them to get it?
Well, again, it comes out once a month. It's free, just goes to feed stores, restaurants, different places that Phyllis has sent it to and takes it to. We have it at the clinic and at Horsepower and both clinics. It has event schedules, it has show schedules, it has the latest news of anything new happening in the state. It is just Arkansas. And so that makes it nice. There's some other publications out there, but, they're all over the country. And so it isn't centered around our business as well as the Roundup does. And so it is focused right here at home. And it does talk about pertinent issues for Arkansas equine people. One thing that it's nice is, again, you can keep track with a lot of the different clubs and equine organizations that post it there.
Now, there's not many out there that I know of that you can find on Arkansas just for the events that are going on there. And contact people that are just, whether it's in horse or cattle or anything like that,
right?
Or anything that contacts that. Yeah. So as we're transitioning to this new issue, the Roundup, what's it like stepping into this role as the new owner of the magazine?
It's exciting. It's like drinking from a fire hose right at the start. There was a lot of information that Phyllis, and let me just say that thank God Phyllis is staying with us. She is, kind of hired on with us, and that has helped tremendously. Her knowledge base on this is, we have no background in publishing or anything like that. So Phyllis staying on is helping a bunch. She's going to continue doing the feature story and helping us with some of the articles and stuff, which helps a lot. We have been burning the phone up between us and her, figuring out how to do the printing, the mail outs, the subscriptions, the advertisements. Right. So, we have zero background in any of that. So we have relied heavily on her past experience on how to continue doing that. And then again, we put together a fantastic team. Sarah Henry is in charge of all the artistic design of it. She is a photographer here from Rosebud, lives in Greenbrier now, but she is doing all of the visual part of this. And one thing we're trying to do is add a beauty aspect to it and really spotlight the Western lifestyle. And she's doing a fantastic job. We want this to be a publication that people keep on their coffee table. We want it to be nice enough and pretty enough that people collect them and keep them. Right. And so adding her to the partnership, adding you and Ryan and Dallas and Colleen, some other contributing writers, and all of these other contributors are people that I know, people that I serve on boards with and that I know in the veterinary world, and attorneys and horseshoers and everybody that is in Arkansas equine business. And not just equine, that's the other thing is, we're expanding this to cover other species now. Our practice is so involved with multiple species. We do a lot of equine work. We do a lot of cattle work, a lot of small animal work. And, if you know me, one of my passions is wildlife. I'm an avid hunter, avid outdoorsman, avid wildlife conservative. And so, a big part of this is adding that to the magazine too. So it will be a lot bigger. Our first issue that is at print now is almost 100 pages, and so a lot bigger. It is. It's going to be a lot nicer magazine. It's what we call perfect bound, which is the square binding like the Western Horseman is. The Cowboys and Indians, the American Quarter Horse Journal. It's going to have that same feel and look and texture to it, the same quality of photographs and Western
coffee table book.
Coffee table book, right. But it's going to be of people if you're from here, you will know somebody that we feature and talk about in this magazine.
Perfect.
So, yeah.
I imagine having a good enough team to start out with this. I mean, doing this by yourself would be
nowhere in the world. And that's when I first talked to Phyllis, and it piqued my interest. But I was the first text I made was to Sarah and say, hey, you're interested in maybe doing this, because I knew that it was way out of my league. And again, getting the contributing articles, the information in there. We're trying to have a mixture of equine and agriculture related information mixed with Western art, Western heritage, and beauty. And so the combination of that I think it's going to be really cool.
When you're talking about getting the transition, was there any kind of wow moments that you've reached so far, whether good or bad?
Sitting around this table with Phyllis, and asking her, and again, the intricacies of the layout of the magazine, the advertisers. This thing is advertiser driven. Okay, it's free.
Right.
So we are going to push more toward a subscription model, because what I don't want is somebody that we build this beautiful magazine, and somebody gets to Cabot Tractor Supply and there's no more copies. And so we want it available to everybody. The subscription can be cheap. It just barely covers the cost of printing and the mail out. But at least if they want it to come to their home once a month, then we can do that. And so we're very interested in going more of a subscription model, but we will still continue doing the mail out like Phyllis always has, and just beating the bushes with people delivering it.
Yeah.
Phyllis and George hand delivered a lot of these to a lot of establishments, and we plan on doing the same thing.
Sure. A lot of people think about just making the magazine and getting the publicity out there, but getting it delivered, I mean, that's a whole
nother realm. Right.
Yeah.
I mean, she is, over the years put together, I think 288 locations across Arkansas that this is mailed to every month. And she has honed it down to how many copies this feed store wants and how many copies this tire store wants, whatever. And so again, we're going to continue doing that. We're going to have some people on staff that are actually out and taking it to new places, trying to expand the coverage and expand the optics of it. And again, trying to get people to advertise. We want people that want the demographic of the equine or the Arkansas equestrian, the Arkansas rancher and farmer. Again, we're going to be talking a lot about ranch management, farm management, wildlife, so that we'll expand our view on advertising.
Homesteading.
Homesteading, yes.
A big deal.
Ron Walker, the CVT that works for us at the clinic, is in charge of the homesteading portion of this. And it's phenomenal to me how widespread that is now. It's very popular.
Everyone's wanting a piece of the action.
Everybody, yeah. So that's another big thing that we're adding is the homesteading section. So, and I'm sure we'll get to this, but we're also going to be online a lot more. When we first met and we're talking about this, they said, "Oh, that's simple. We'll just expand this onto a blog." And I said, "What's a blog?"
What's a blog?
Yeah, what's a blog?
Right.
I have no idea what that even is. So they very kindly explained to me what it is. It is where these articles, a lot of times when we get all these contributors on there, once we get the photographs and the Western art we want in there to make this pleasing to look at, we're out of pages.
It's pretty big.
Yeah, right. And so, a lot of this will be on the blog to where you get on there and read either all the article will be on there, and sometimes we're going to have part of the article in print, and then if you want to follow up and read the rest of the article, then you get on the blog.
Sure.
And that's really exciting. Again, it is odd for me, but a lot of younger people,
a lot of learning experience.
You bet.
This episode is brought to you by Red River Farm and Ranch Feed Supply, your trusted partner out here where the work never stops. Whether you're feeding a herd, a flock, or just a few backyard chickens, Red River has everything you need to keep your animals happy and healthy. From premium livestock feed and minerals to fencing supplies, tack, and even pet food. If it eats, grazes, or gallops, they've got you covered. Family owned and proudly serving the heartland, Red River Farm and Ranch knows what it takes to keep a ranch running because they live it too. Their farm-raised beef is also available for purchase in store. So next time you're gearing up for the season, swing by Red River Farm and Ranch Feed Supply in Heber Springs, Arkansas, and let them know we sent you. Red River Farm and Ranch Feed Supply, where hard work meets real support for all your growing needs.
This magazine has been going around for 32 years total. And even Phyllis has had it for 15,
I think almost 20 years. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, a long time.
How was it figuring out what to keep in the magazine, what to add to it, and what to essentially completely reimagine in the magazine?
Well, as far as what to keep, we're keeping most of it. She did a great job, putting together all the articles and again, the feature story that she does. One thing we are changing, and we are changing quite a bit. One thing we are changing, and it was Sarah's idea and I love it, is that the cover is not always going to be the feature story. Okay, we want the cover to be pretty enough. We want the cover to be captivating enough to where people want to keep this, again, out on their coffee table, keep the magazine.
Right.
And so that is something that we are going to change. The feature story will always, again, be the biggest story in there. It will be listed on the cover, but the cover will be artistic Western art, Western photography, Western art. And I like that. I like that idea. We added the other species for a lot of reasons. Again, my practice is mixed. And so, my work is, we work on everything. And so we have a lot of clients that have horses, but they also have cattle. They also have sheep. They also have goats. The small animal portion, that's half our work, And so we've got contributors talking about small animal, dog and cat diseases, dog and cat nutrition. So again, most people that own horses have dogs. They have cattle. They have small ruminants. That a lot of them, are wildlife enthusiasts, whether they hunt, whether they're photographers, whether they just like to walk through nature. So we are trying to incorporate a lot together. And so we put together a list of contributors that have specialties in all these areas.
And there's been a lot of laws changing in agriculture too and all that. And we've got a portion of that.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah, so we have an attorney, Penny Choate out of Searcy, that is doing an article once every month or two on equine/agricultural law. So it will be pertinent information to people that are in this business.
So it sounds like with call it a rebranding of the Roundup.
Yep.
it sounds like that's mostly acquiring to the cattle and the law and the wilderness. I mean, with this new role and this new chapter in the Roundup history, is that kind of what you would consider the rebranding to be?
It is, yeah. I think each Roundup's been owned by 3 or 4 people, and every one of them have changed. They've all had their own ideas of how it should look and how it should work. Obviously, we have our own too. And again, there's a group of us that own this now, and we all have some different ideas. We all have a little bit different backgrounds, and we're trying to spread this out to where it is more appealing to a larger demographic of people.
The first issue is not quite out yet.
Yeah. The first issue's at print right now.
At print,
but
it's
we're ready to
hands.
get our hands on it. We're ready
Right.
to see it and flip through it. But
Right.
on the computer, when Sarah showed it to me, it looks beautiful. It looks fantastic. We're very excited. We had a lot to learn on our first issue, and hopefully we've learned that.
Yep.
And so each one should get easier and easier. But yes, it is at print. We're hoping it is out around April 15th. The next issue we're striving, the hope is that it comes out the first of every month.
Sure.
That's the hope.
Sure.
So, advertisers, contributors, and all, that means getting it in by the 5th of the month before. It takes a long time to put this thing together and get everything lined up just right and get it printed and then get it back in our hands. So, we're very excited to have this one. I think as we go, we're learning. And so it's just going to get better and better.
Definitely a little tedious. I was going to ask how it feels getting out the door. It's not quite out the door yet,
Right.
but it's out of our hands. So what's done is done.
Yeah.
It's kind of a little tedious too to see what that looks like and what everyone kind of perceives that as.
Yeah, and we want feedback, and that's
Yeah.
we posted it everywhere. I want people to look at this and email us, call us, text us, write, whatever. Let us know what you want to see in this, because again, we're not 100% set on some of the format right now. We're making this for the people of Arkansas to enjoy, and so my hope is that they'll let us know what they like and what they don't like, and we'll change to what they want.
Speaking of the feedback, has anyone said anything yet about?
Well, the few that have seen
anticipating,
it, there's the few that have seen it have been very excited.
Sure.
Very excited, yeah. And so, we've got great feedback on the limited number of people that have seen it. So I'm anxious to get it out and be out for a couple of months and get some real feedback.
How did you balance, with the past of the Roundup and the future of Roundup? How did you balance honoring everything that everyone's done to make it what it is up until this point, while adding the new stuff and having it well received?
Well, Phyllis was, again, gracious enough to stay on. So, the heart of the previous Roundup still with us.
Yep.
She's still very much a part of every issue now. She has been so good to work with, and she has been so accepting of our ideas. She has worked closely with Sarah on the layout of the magazine, and she is very impressed with Sarah and how we're doing the art and the photographs and the layout and some of the changes we're doing. So I think she's excited about the change too.
Yeah, absolutely. Looking ahead, what do you think is most exciting about moving forward with the Roundup? New ideas that we've got to roll out and features.
The funnest part for me is the excitement from everybody that's involved. That we've got 15 people at least that are contributing, and then the contributing photographers. We posted that, and within days we had hundreds of beautiful photographs from these great photographers that are wanting to be shown in the magazine. And so I think as we go, again, the excitement and the contribution from all these other people is really, really changing the enthusiasm of the whole magazine.
Mm-hmm. I know that part of that magazine is going to have a perforated page with Western art.
So yeah, it was a great idea. There's a local artist from Quitman that does sketch art, Western sketch art, obviously. And it's beautiful. It's beautiful. And so the printer got with us, and we were able to do a cardstock perforated page in the center of the magazine it'll be a different picture every month that is like a collectible. All on the same page, her husband does a cowboy poem that's associated with it. It's a great idea. And so you will take this out every month, and you can frame it. Yeah. Right. I mean, I've seen it, and it is. I will frame this and put it in my home. Yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah, between really the cover of the magazine, and having that framing, you're gonna have lots of stuff to pick from, and admire, and keep for a long time, not just.
And that's where again, my hope is that more and more people will subscribe, because I think people are going to want this to keep. And so we'll definitely get that information out on our website and out there to where people can figure out how to subscribe to where they get every one.
Sure.
Because after people see this, my hope, and I think it will, these things are going to get taken pretty quick off the shelves of the feed stores,
So with that, how do you think that's going to connect with people that are reading the Roundup, whether it's long-time readers or totally new to this magazine?
Well, I mean, my hope is they love it. Again, my hope is that, they see the effort that we put in and the changes we put in. And no downcast at all to Phyllis and them. They've done a great job. Again, it's switching now, and we're really upgrading,
changing gears a little
bit, right?
Adding to the long lasting of it.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And again, adding the other animal species in there just broadens the topics that we can bring in.
Yes.
So there again, everybody that reads this probably has some sort of animal that we're talking about, and so there'll be so many more topics that we can list.
Right. And so, will all of these topics be something that we expect every single issue? Or, that's a lot of topics.
A lot of topics.
And you end up running out of some.
You kind of run out of some info. You get 2 or 3 people talking on cattle management, 2 or 3 people talking on small animal. So our hope, and these people that are contributing are the best in the state. And, my hope is that we can keep this fresh information every month, whether it's something new or whether it's a rehash on something that has been around for a long time. But I think we'll be able to keep good, fresh information out on each issue.
What would you say something is that you've learned since taking over this
well,
magazine?
I learned a lot about publishing and learned a lot about, magazines. It also has enlightened me a little bit about the enthusiasm that other people have for this as well. Again, once we started putting this together, the whole team had fantastic ideas about how to put it all together, make it informational, fun to read, not boring, and really, really nice to look at. And again, preserving the Western heritage, the Western lifestyle. We all live that, and that is dear to my heart to preserve. And so that's a big push with this magazine.
I think it took us that first meeting was like 4 hours.
I think at least 4.
With pages of ideas, crossword puzzles. And
we've got a lot of ideas that, again, as we go, we're going to keep trying to make this better and better each issue.
Has this experience changed the way you view social media and marketing and storytelling at all, or is it pretty much what you expected in terms of the marketing aspect?
Well, and I can tell you, I'm guilty of being very ignorant of social media. Again, that it's just not my generation as much. Well, maybe it's just me. But I'm not adept at social media, Instagram, Facebook, and all that. We use it. We use it in our companies. And there is no better source of getting information out, obviously, than social media. And, we use it at all the clinics and everything, and it's fantastic. This, I think, will even be better used with the blog and with the social media. I think that there'll be so much more information that we can get out there that people can view. Again, if they want to subscribe, or if they want to do an online subscription, or if they couldn't find one at the feed store, they'll be able to get on there and view part of it, just on our site.
Sure.
And so that expansion of this, I think, really will probably be the biggest expansion. We're doing a huge expansion of the print magazine, but we've got some great people working on the email part, the social media part that is way above my head, and I'm gonna let them do what they do, and I'll do what I do.
Yep.
But it sounds really exciting.
Talking about the crossword puzzle and the ideas that we've got, what are some of the things that you plan on adding to that magazine as it goes? I know you mentioned earlier something about classifieds and stuff like that.
Yeah, if you're my generation, you remember classified ads, and in the back, we do want to do a classified section. If you have a horse for sale, or saddle for sale, or hay for sale, or whatever, it'll be a classified section in the back. There's not going to be many other avenues. I mean, you can get on Marketplace, Facebook Marketplace. You can get on Craigslist or something, but people that pick up this magazine are in Arkansas, in the horse or cattle or small animal business. That's why they're reading this magazine. So it's a very targeted demographic for people to advertise in. So again, I think it's going to be very beneficial for people that do have things that list in classifieds. We talked about doing a memorial section. People that have a 30-year-old horse that they learned to ride on, and their daughter learned to run barrels on, and that horse passes away, and they want to memorialize it somehow. I think that it's a great way to show some respect and talk
that's what it's about.
It's right. That's right.
Yeah, that's what it's about.
Yeah. We plan on featuring trainers every month, and so we're looking at not only there'll be Western trainers, thoroughbred trainers, English trainers, horsemanship trainers, and so that spotlight on them will not only help people in that area, it's going to help their business too. It's going to help those trainers. And so we're going to focus on a lot of Arkansas professionals that are in this business. Again, whether that is a horse trainer or a cattle fitter for show cattle, or somebody who trains obedience and dogs, we're going to try to feature something like that in each issue.
So if there was someone out there that was taking over publication with a legacy like this, what kind of words of advice would you have to give to them before they started?
Get a good team. Get a good team. This would not have been possible for me to do by myself. I don't have time. B, I don't have the knowledge base to do all of the segments of this. So again, we put together a very good team on this, and that I think that is going to be my hope is why it's going to be so successful.
Yep. Yeah, that's the powerhouse is what you got. That's where the ideas come from.
Yes, yeah. I mean, when we meet,
comes from.
There's a lot of ideas being thrown around, and when we take some and we throw some away, and it's really good to bounce that off of people of different ages and different backgrounds and different social status, and it is it all comes together with the team.
And definitely a big enough project that easily, if someone didn't have the right people around them, they could stall. It could take a year really to get something like that rolling.
To try to get enough, and you mentioned it before, to try to get enough pertinent information that's fresh in each issue. So, to not write about the same thing over and over again. Look, it takes a lot. It takes a lot of time, and it takes a lot of work and a lot of effort to come up with things that we feel are pertinent for our readers, enjoyable to read, and fresh, to where we're not just rehashing from 2 issues ago.
Right. So people looking forward to this, they've heard everything that's going to have, they've heard about how it's going to begin. Where can folks check out this new issue or what's coming next? Where can they find that issue or get into
Again, it goes to 280-something places in Arkansas. And so TSC, most of the farmers co-ops, most of the feed stores so those are the mail outs that we do. And so when we get those, then those are mailed out, and then they're just free to pick up at those places. Again, we also are really pushing the subscription model. And again, it won't be free, but it is just enough to cover our publishing and print costs. Barely. I can show you the math. And to get it mailed out. Right. But then at least they know that they're getting an issue every month. And again, my hope is that these are, become coveted enough to where it's going to be kind of hard to find at the feed store counter. You better be there the day.
Yeah, you better be there ready to get it.
Right. So that is the hope right now. Again, the website, all the social media stuff, Instagram page, and all that. Obviously, they can get on and view it there.
Yeah. Can you give us a little bitty teaser on what this next issue is going to be about, or are we allowed to know?
Well, yeah. We put together an issue with, again, what we thought was some really nice, beautiful Western photography, photos. The art that we talked about, and then 14 contributing columnists that all wrote about very pertinent, very current problems that we are facing right now, or issues that we commonly face in cattle marketing, cattle health, ranch management, small animal medicine, small animal surgery, equine medicine, podiatry, horseshoeing care, to wildlife management. So I think there's going to be something in there for everybody.
All that in one magazine.
All that in one magazine. Right.
That's awesome.
And it's really cool to look through too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very entertaining as
Yes,
well as educational.
Right.
If this new era of the Roundup could stand for one thing, what would that be?
Heritage. I just as I've been in this area for 45 years now, and seeing a lot of the ranches and stuff be sold off and all that's heartbreaking to me. And there is a Western heritage that it's not as common here as in Wyoming or Montana, but it's still here. Still here. And you don't have to wear a cowboy hat. You don't have to wear the boots. It is the mindset of being a steward of the land, a steward of the animals, and that you might have one goat. You might have 4 or 5 chickens. You don't have to have a big ranch to feel this and to live this. And so my hope is that this touches those people and again reminds them of that lifestyle and that heritage.
Awesome. Well, I'm excited. I know everybody's excited.
Yeah.
It's going to be a great publication that we're going to look forward to.
Right on.
Good deal. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Thank you.